Hello students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are all getting prepared for your half-yearly examinations. I hope you have gone through the portions in our group. So please make sure that you learn well. Concentrate on the questions from inside the book. And also learn the 1 mark questions that have been given at the back side of the book for neat preparations based on the topic. Based on the chapters that has been included in your portions for the half-yearly examinations. So in our last class we have learned about what is taxonomy and systematics, what is taxonomic hierarchy, concept of species, and what is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So in this class we are going to learn about the classification of plants. So the scientific basis for cataloging and retrieving information about the tremendous diversity of flora is known as classification. So we know that there are lakhs and lakhs of plants are there, different species are there, different genus are there, so they have to be classified for our better understanding of the plants. So what is the need for classification? So Dr. E.K. Janaki Ammal, who was appointed as an officer on special duty on 14th October 1952, so she conducted a survey and designed the Botanical Survey of India. After independence, the need was felt for a more comprehensive documentation of the country's plant resources to boost the economy. So, the plan was fully approved by Government of India on 29th March 1954, and Calcutta as the headquarters, Botanical Survey of India was established. So there are 3 types of classification: artificial classification or sexual system of classification, natural classification or Bentham and Hooker system of classification, then there is phylogenetic classification. So these are the 3 types of classification we are going to study. So classification is essential of biology because there is a vast diversity of organisms to sort out and compare. Unless they are organized into a manageable categories, it will be difficult for identification. Biological classifications are the inventions of biologists based upon the best evidence available. The scientific basis for cataloging and retrieving information about the tremendous diversity of flora is known as classification. So what are the needs for classification? Understanding the classification of organisms can give us an insight into other fields and has significant practical value. Classification helps us to know about different taxa, their phylogenetic relationship and exact position. And it also helps to train the students of plant sciences with regard to the diversity of organisms and their relationship between other biological branches. So, artificial system of classification was established by Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1707 to 1778. Was a great Swedish botanist and said to be the father of taxonomy. He outlined an artificial system of classification in Species Plantarum, that is a book Species Plantarum in 1753, wherein he has listed and described 7,300 species and arranged in 24 classes, mostly on the basis of number, union, length and distribution of stamens. The classification was further subdivided on the basis of corpus characteristics into orders. Hence, the system of classification is known as sexual system of classification. So, he has classified into monandria, diandria, triandria, tetrandria, pentandria, and up to 24th class cryptogamia. So, it is based on the number of stamens, and cryptogamia are the flowerless plants. The system of classification, though artificial, was continued for more than 100 years after the death of Linnaeus due to its simplicity and easy way of identification of plants. However, the system could not hold good due to the following reasons. Totally unrelated plants were kept in a single group, whereas the closely related plants were placed in widely separated groups. No attempts were made to classify plants based on either natural or phylogenetic relationships which exist among the plant groups. So that was the disadvantage. Botanists who came after Linnaeus realized that no single character is more important than the other characters. Accordingly, an approach of natural system of classification sprouted in France. The first scheme of classification based on overall similarities was represented by Anthony Laurent de Jussieu. So, a widely followed natural system of classification considered the best was proposed by two English botanists, Bentham and Hooker. The classification was published in a 3-volume work as Genera Plantarum, describing 202 families, 7,569 genera, and 97,205 species. In this system, the seeded plants were classified into 3 major groups such as Dicotyledonea, Gymnospermae and Monocotyledonea. So these are the 3 major classes of the classification of Bentham and Hooker's classification, which is also known as the natural system of classification. So in class 1, Dicotyledonea, plants contains 2 cotyledons in their seeds, leaves with reticulate venation, taproot system, and tetramerous or pentamerous flowers come under this class. It includes 3 subclasses called as Polypetalae, Gamopetalae and Monochlamydia. So Polypetalae is the subclass 1. So plants with free petals and dichlamydious flowers come under Polypetalae. It is further divided into 3 series called as Helamiflorae, Disciflorae and Calyciflorae. In series 1, Thalamiflorae, plants having flowers with dome or conical shaped thalamus and a superior ovary are included in this series. It includes 6 orders and 84 families. So the subclass 2 is Gamopetalae, plants with united petals which are either partially or completely fused to one another, and dichlamydious are placed under Gamopetalae. It is further divided into 3 series called as Inferae, Heteromerae and Bicarpellate. In the series Inferae, the flowers are epigynous with inferior ovary. It includes 3 orders and 9 families. Next one is Heteromerae, the flowers with hypogynous superior ovary and with more than 2 carpels. Heteromerae include 3 orders and 2 families. And the next one is subclass 3, which is Monochlamydia, plants with incomplete flowers, either apopetalous or with undifferentiated calyx and corolla, are placed under Monochlamydia. The sepals and petals are not distinguished and they are called as perianth. Sometimes both the poles are absent. Monochlamydia includes 8 series and 86 families. Class 2 is Gymnospermae. Plants that contain naked seeds come under this class. Gymnospermae include three families: Neetaceae, Coniferae and Cycadaceae. So, the Bentham and Hooker's system of classification is still supposed to be the best system of classification. So, next one is the phylogenetic system of classification. The publication of Origin of Species of the Charles Darwin has given stimulus for the emergence of the phylogenetic system of classification. So, Adolf Engler and Karl Prantl system of classification is the earliest phylogenetic system of classification of the entire plant kingdom and was jointly proposed by two German botanists. They published their classification in a monumental work, Die Naturlichen Pflanzenfamilien, in 23 volumes during the year 1887 to 1915. In this system of classification, the plant kingdom was divided into 13 divisions. The first 11 divisions are Thallophytes. 12th division is Embryophyta, Acyponogoma. Plants with embryos but not pollen tubes, Bryophytes and Pteridophytes are included in this group. And the 13th division is Embryophyta, Spinogama. Plants with embryos and pollen tubes, which included the seeded plants. Next one is the Arthur Cronquist system of classification. He is an eminent American taxonomist, proposed phylogenetic classification of flowering plants based on a wide range of taxonomic characters, including anatomical and phytochemical characteristics of phylogenetic importance. He has represented his classification in 1968 in his book titled The Evolution and Classification of Flowering Plants. His classification is broadly based on the principles of phylogeny that finds acceptance with major contemporary authors. Cronquist classified the angiosperms into two main classes called as Magnoleopsida and Liliopsida. Magnoleopsida is called as dicotyledons and Liliopsida is called as monocotyledons. There are 6 classes, 64 groups, 318 families, and there are about 165,000 species in Magnoleopsida, wherein Liliopsida there are 5 subclasses, 19 orders, 65 families, and about 50,000 species. So that was Cronquist's system of classification, but it could not persist for a long time because the system is not very useful for identification and cannot be adopted in herbaria due to its high phylogenetic nature. Next comes the Angiosperm phylogeny group or APG classification. So it is the most recent classification of flowering plants based on the phylogenetic data was set in the last decade of 20th century. 4 versions of Angiosperm phylogenetic group classification APG1, APG2, APG3 and APG4 was published in 1998, 2003, 2009 and 2016 respectively. Each version supplants the previous version. So that is the APG system of classification. So the angiosperms are classified into 3 clades: early angiosperms, monocots and edicots. Early angiosperms are classified into 8 orders and 26 families. It is called as the ANA grade. A means Ambrelles, N means Nymphaeas and A means Astrobialians. So in this seeds with two cotyledons, presence of ethereal oils, and leaves are simple net veined. Monocots are classified into 11 orders and 77 families. So in this, seed with single cotyledon, primary root short-lived, single adaxial profile, ethereal oils are rarely present and they are mostly herbaceous, and absence of vascular cambium. So next comes the eudicots. The eudicots are divided into 45 orders and 83 families. So in this, seeds with always two cotyledons, nodes trilocular with 3 leaf traces, and stomata anamocytic, ethereal oils rarely present, woody or herbaceous plants, leaves are simple or compound, usually veined, net veined, flower pods mostly in 2s, 4s and 5s, microsporogenesis simultaneous, style solid and colon tricolpate. So these all things comes under the eudicots. So these are the three major classifications proposed by the APG system of classification. So in the above picture you can see what are the early angiosperms, monocots, eudicots and how they are classified. So the eudicots are classified into early diverging eudicot, super rosids and super asterisks. So in that subclasses are coming. So this is the APG system of classification. So APG system is an evolving system that might undergo change periodically based on the new sets of data from various disciplines of botany. It is the currently accepted system across the world, followed by all the leading taxonomic institutions and practicing taxonomists. However, it is yet to percolate into the Indian botanical curriculum. Classification reflects the state of our knowledge at a given point of time, so it will continue to change as we acquire new information. So a significant number of major herbaria, including Q, are changing the order of their collections in accordance with APG, Angiospermic Phylogenetic Classification. The influential world checklist of selected plant families is being updated to the APG3 system. A recent photographic survey of the plants of USA and Canada is organized according to the APG3 system. In UK, the latest edition of the standard flora of the British Isles written by Stace is based on the APG3 system. So these are the types of classification of taxonomy. Next we will see the modern trends in taxonomy. Taxonomists now accept that the morphological characters alone should not be considered in systemic classification of plants. The complete knowledge of taxonomy is possible with the principles of various disciplines like cytology, genetics, anatomy, physiology, geographical distribution, embryology, ecology, palynology, phenology, biochemistry, numerical taxonomy and transplant experiments. So now we will see the new system of classification. First comes the chemotaxonomy. Various medicine, spices and preservatives obtained from the plant have drawn the attention of taxonomists. Study of these various chemicals available in plants helps to solve certain taxonomical problems. Chemotaxonomy is the scientific approach of classification on the basis of their biochemical constituents. So the chemical characters can be divided into three main categories: easily visible characters like starch, grains, silicon, etc. Characters detected by chemical tests like phenolics, oil, fats, waxes, etc. Next one is proteins. Next comes the biosystematics. The biosystematics is an experimental ecological and cytotaxonomy through which life forms are studied and their relationships are identified. The term biosystematics was introduced by Camp and Gilly in 1943. Many authors feel biosystematics is closer to cytogenetics and ecology, and much importance were given not to classification but no evaluation. Next comes karyotaxonomy. Chromosomes are the carriers of genetic information. Increased knowledge about the chromosomes have been used for extensive biosystematic studies and resolving many taxonomical problems. Utilization of the characteristics and phenomena of cytology for the explanation of taxonomic problem is known as cytotaxonomy or karyotaxonomy. The number of chromosomes, such as number, size, morphology, and behavior during meiosis, have proved to be a taxonomical value. Next comes serotaxonomy. Systemic serology or serotaxonomic had in origin towards the end of the 20th century with the discovery of serological reactions and developments of the discipline of immunology. So, what are the importance of serotaxonomy? It determines the degree of similarity between species, gender and family, etc. by comparing the reactions of antigens from various plant taxa with antibodies raised against the antigen of a given taxon. Next comes the molecular taxonomy, which constitutes molecular systematics and molecular phylogenetics. Molecular taxonomy is the branch of phylogenety that analyzes hereditary and molecular differences, mainly in DNA sequence, to gain information and to establish genetic relationship between the number of different taxonomic categories. The advent of DNA cloning and sequencing methods have contributed immensely to the development of molecular taxonomy and population genetics over the years. The results of molecular phylogenetic analysis are expressed in the form of a tree called phylogenetic tree. Different molecular markers like allozymes, mitochondrial DNA, microsatellites, RFLP, RAPD, ALFPs, and single nucleotide polymorphism microchips arrays are used in analysis. So, what are the uses of molecular taxonomy? It helps to identify a very large number of species of plants. Next one is the RFLP, which is also known as restriction, fragment, length, polymorphism. RFLP is a molecular method of genetic analysis that allows identification of taxa based on unique patterns of restriction sites in special regions of DNA. It refers to differences between taxa in restriction sites and therefore the lengths of fragments of DNA following cleavage with restriction enzymes. So, the RFLP is a part of a molecular taxonomy. So, it helps in the phylogenetic analysis. Next one is the AFLP, which is amplified fragment length polymorphism. This method is similar to that of identifying restriction fragment length polymorphism, in that a restriction enzyme is used to cut DNA into numerous smaller pieces, each of which terminates into a characteristic nucleotide sequence due to the action of restriction enzymes. AFLP is largely used for population genetic studies, but has been used in studies of closely related species, and even in some cases of higher cladistic analysis. Next comes the RAPD, Random Amplified Polymorphic DNA. It is a method to identify genetic markers using a randomly synthesized primer that will anneal in the double stranded form to complementary regions located in various locations of isolated DNA. If another complementary site is present on the opposing DNA strand at a distance that is not too great within the limits of Hesier, which is the polymerase chain reaction, then the reaction will amplify this region of DNA. RAPDs like microsatellites may often be used for genetic studies within species, but may also be successfully employed in phylogenetic studies to address the relationship within a species or between closely related species. Next one is the DNA barcoding. Have you seen how scanners are used in supermarkets to distinguish the Universal Product Code (UPC)? In the same way, we can also distinguish one species from another. DNA barcoding is a taxonomic method that uses a very short genetic sequence from a standard part of a genome. The genetic sequence used to identify a plant is known as DNA tags or DNA barcodes. Paul Hiebert in 2003 proposed DNA barcoding, and he is considered as father of barcoding. The gene region that is being used as an effective barcode in plants is present in two genes of the chloroplast. MATK and RBCL have been approved as the barcode region of plants. What are the significance of barcoding? DNA barcoding greatly helps in identification and classification of an organism. It aids in the mapping the extent of biodiversity. DNA barcoding techniques require a large database of sequences for comparison. Next, we will see about the differences between classical and modern taxonomy. What is classical taxonomy? It is called old systematics or alpha taxonomy or just as taxonomy. Modern taxonomy is called as new systematics or biosystematics or omega taxonomy. Classical taxonomy is pre-Darwinian and modern taxonomy is post-Darwinian. In classical taxonomy, species is considered as basic unit and it is static. In modern taxonomy, species is considered as dynamic entity and ever changing. Classification is mainly based on morphological characters. The system is based on the observation of few samples or individuals, whereas in the modern taxonomy, classification is based on morphological, reproductive characters and phylogenetic, that is evolutionary relationship between the organism. This system is based on the observation of large number of samples and individuals. So those are the modern taxonomical tools which are very helpful in the classification of the plants, and it is the state of the art of the 20th century. Next we will see about the cladistics. Cladistics is the analysis of the taxonomic data, and the types of characters that are used in classification have changed from time to time. Plants have been classified based on the morphological character before the advancement of microscopes, which help in the inclusions of submicroscopic and microscopic features. A closer study is necessary while classifying closely related plants. Discovery of finer molecular analytical techniques coupled with advanced software and computers have ushered in a new era of modern or phylogenetic classification. The method of classifying organisms into monophyletic group of a common ancestor based on shared apomorphic characters is called as cladistics. The outcome of cladistic analysis is the cladogram, a tree-shaped diagram that represents the best hypothesis of phylogenetic relationships. Earlier generated cladograms were largely on the basis of morphological characters, but now genetic sequencing data and computational softwares are commonly used in phylogenetic analysis. So the cladistic analysis is one of the primary methods of constructing phylogenies or evolutionary histories. Cladistic uses shared derived characters to group organisms into clades. These clades have at least one shared derived character found in their most recent common ancestor that is not found in other groups. Hence, they are considered more closely related to each other. The shared characters can be morphological, such as leaf, flower, fruit, seed, and so on. Behavior like opening of flowers, nocturnal, diurnal, molecular like DNA or protein sequences, and more. Cladistics accepts only monophyletic groups. Paraphyletic and polyphyletic taxa are occasionally considered when such taxa conveniently treated as one group for practical purposes. Example: Dicots, Sterculiaceae. Polyphyletic groups are rejected by cladistics. So in that monophyletic group, the taxa comprising all the descendants of common ancestor. Paraphyletic group, taxa that includes an ancestor but all the descendants. Polyphyletic group, taxa that includes two different lineages. What are the need for the cladistics? Cladistics is now the most commonly useful and accepted method of creating phylogenetic need of the classification. So cladistic is the most common and most modern method. So students, I hope